Excellent. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are joining us from today. Welcome to the Sydney MuleSoft Meetup. So my name is Royston Lobo, and I'll be your co-host for the event this afternoon today. I'm excited to bring you the topic that we have to share, and as well as an opportunity for you to ask questions and engage with the rest of the community. So while we are called the Sydney MuleSoft Meetup, we acknowledge that people from all over the world love to join us, and we're really happy to have you from wherever you are. We ask that you share your feedback at the end of our meetup today to say thank you, as well as to tell us how we can do better for next time. All right, with that, let's get started with our content. So first up, I'll introduce myself again. I'm Royston Lobo. I work as a technical architect in the customer success team here at MuleSoft. Some of you would have known me from previous meetups. I have recently relocated to Singapore, so I now have a new time zone that I operate from. But the good news is that it is still waking hours in Singapore. So it means that I'm not asleep during the Sydney meetup. And that's quite a relief. It is my absolute pleasure to announce that we now have a new co-leader in our meetup group, and that is Eva. So before I introduce Eva, I wanted to say that we were looking for a new leader for a little while to make sure that we had someone to have the energy to take this on further and help support Dan and myself with the group as well, especially since I was relocating to Singapore. So I'm very happy to announce that Eva has stepped up and accepted the challenge to make this meetup group even better than what it was in the past. So with that, Eva, would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Royston. I think you have set the bar really high from all the records events that you have hosted in the past. So thank you so much. And it's my honorable gratitude to really have the opportunity to join and co-host with Royston this time. And great to meet. This is the first Sydney virtual meetup this new fiscal year. We have been to a very thorough and very tough years since COVID happens. And I myself joined the Mules team, the Mules team since 3 months ago. I'm still very new to business. I'm in the solution engineering. That's more like pre-sales, sales team supporting all the sales organizations to really promote our business. And hopefully I can do a good job, Royston, and contribute as much to really promote the products and also, acknowledge all the accomplishments for our communities in the Mule communities. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Would you share a little more about your previous background before MuleSoft?
Yeah, definitely. I myself is based out of Sydney, Australia. I have been, I'm new to the business unit. I'm not new to the organizations. I have been with the organization Salesforce for more than 10 years, previously in another teams under the core product sales cloud and also marketing cloud and service cloud. So I was from the customer success teams, same with Royston's, now in another business unit. So it's really great opportunity for me to join a new business unit and learn new things for my personal developments and growth. And it is a new gig for me. And I still find the product is very interesting. The platform is very robust. And every day I'm still learning a lot from all the different professionals like you all. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And it's so good to see the Salesforce expertise you bring to the table, Eva. So for all the audience out there, if you're looking for a Salesforce expert to hassle for your next meetup question, we have one right on board with us now. Excellent. Thank you, Eva. It's a pleasure to have you with us as part of this group. I'm looking forward to the awesome things we do together. All right. So just some guidelines for us as a group today. So we are using the virtual meetup platform. You'll notice that it's quite challenging to unmute yourself if you're an audience member. That's because it's a way of controlling and managing our audiences. If you do have questions or comments during the day, please pop them in the chat. I've shared a Q&A link earlier, and I'll share it again. So that's a good place to ask your questions, and we'll be moderating questions to Suchir later on. So that way, it's a good way to get your questions answered. Excellent. So the agenda for today, we do have a shorter meetup compared to our normal Sydney meetups that we had in the evening. So that means that we have time for some MuleSoft updates, and then we have our main topic for the day, which is release strategy with Azure DevOps, which Suchir will be presenting. Just to clarify, we won't be doing trivia today, just to keep to the shorter time format that we have. But if you feel like you'd like to have trivia next time, please let us know in the feedback. And if we get enough people who are keen for the trivia, then we'll bring it back again for our next session. So if you haven't joined, if this is the first time you're joining us, again, please introduce yourself in the chat if you haven't done so already. Hopefully there'll be a time in the near future where we'll all be able to meet in Sydney. Might be a little bit harder for me personally, but I'm sure I can be there virtually as well. And lastly, an hour after the session ends, you will receive a feedback form asking for your feedback. If you get any value out of this session, I'd really ask you to take 2 minutes to fill out that feedback form. It's a great way for the presenters and for us as organizers to know that you got some value out of this. And if you didn't get any value, then it's a good chance for you to tell us how we can make this better for next time. So please take the time to give any little bit of feedback that you can, even if everything was perfect, just so that we know that we are meeting your expectations. For those of us who weren't able to join at the previous Sydney meetup, we had a voice integration with Alexa topic in November 2020. Ahmed from our professional services team very kindly talked through how he came up with that solution. The slides and the content from that session is now available on the event page. So you should be able to find it through the Meetup website. If you need access to it, just let me know in the chat, but it's all available over there. Just keep a note that the recording is not available. It's just the slides and the code. Just continuing on with some updates. For those of us who aren't in the know, the winners for the MuleSoft Hackathon 2020 were announced recently. So thank you to all of those who participated. We had some absolutely stunning submissions coming through from all over the world. And so many of them have in-depth videos and really good guides on how they came up with the solution and the code that they developed as part of that journey. I am extremely pleased to announce that Pat O'Hara, who's a solutions architect at Cook Medical, took out the first place with a COVID symptom checking Mule application. We have named and listed all the top projects, and you can see all the submissions on the links that are on the slide. And I will be posting this slide as well as a recording of this event today onto the Meetup page within the next 12 hours. So you'll have a way to get to the references. So yeah, congratulations once again to all the hackathon winners. And hopefully some of you in the audience will be participating next time around. Continuing on with some updates. I know many of you are Mule developers as well, and you'd be using lots of connectors in your applications. So for those of you who do use connectors, there is an updated blog post in the last couple of months, which is shares and summarizes what the recent updates are. So there are some new connectors and some upgraded connectors. So if you find it challenging to stay on top of them, this is a good way to find out what's new and what's something that you should be considering using or upgrading. And for those of you who haven't heard about the Friends of Mac series, so these are short enablement videos on a range of topics, typically less than 10 minutes long, and they're made by colleagues in my team globally. So there's quite a wide variety of topics that have been covered so far. And I just wanted to call out that there are some new videos that have been released in December and January. So that includes the Mule Migration Assistant, the Metrics Accelerator, and a number of other things as well. A lot of these videos also have accompanying blog posts. So if you're looking to go in depth into any of them, this is a really good place to get started. And sometimes you can even get finished because of the amount of depth and content that's in there. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. So we have a lot of meetups happening globally. I know we are just one in many. So there's actually 29 virtual meetups happening all over the world in February. That's more than the number of days we have. So we are one of the first for February. If you do want to join any of the others, feel free to visit the blog link or go to meetups.mulesoft.com. Not all of them are going to be in a friendly time zone for you, being in Sydney, but you might find other topics of interest as well that you'd like to join. So yeah, just calling it out that it's always worth visiting upcoming events to see what interests you. So with that, I will briefly introduce our topic for today. So we have Sachir Jain from Natuvian, who's going to be sharing with us some content around release strategies with Azure DevOps. So Sachir comes to us with expertise in both the Azure ecosystem as well as the MuleSoft ecosystem, and he was very keen to share where those two ecosystems can blend in and provide value for customers. And so when I was hearing what he had to share, as well as the passion and skill he brings to this topic, it was very compelling to bring it to us as an audience. We haven't had a DevOps related topic in a little while in the Sydney meetup, so I thought this would be a good learning opportunity for us as a group. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen. Sachir, you may take a minute or so to get your screen share sorted up.
Yep.
We also have Christian Schrofel, who you currently see on video. Christian works in the same organization as Sachir in Natuvian. Christian, maybe you can briefly introduce yourself before Sachir gets started with his presentation.
Hey, thank you so much, Royston and Eva, to having us. So we're lucky enough to drive integration for quite a while. We're a small software and solutions company, global, just hitting the 200 employees mark. And look, we're really interested in those new technologies, and they've got the good situation to have Sachir running our architecture team in the MuleSoft space. So happy to contribute, and thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, Christian. Sachir, are you able to get started with your screen share?
Yep, I'm just sharing my screen. Yep.
Fantastic. It's coming through for me. So whenever you're ready, you can get started. If possible, go on full screen in PowerPoint if you're intending to do that. Yep, that's working.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining this meetup, and yeah. So I will start introducing myself. So I'm working on Natuvian, Australia, New Zealand as an integration solution architect, and I've handled various projects from developer to architect level for Australia, US, Mexico, and European clients. And my domains are mostly healthcare, government, finance, and beverages and oil and gas. So, and apart from that, like I worked on different technologies: MuleSoft, Java, Delboomi, Azure DevOps, and Logic App that is exactly same like a MuleSoft, SAP PI. So I was certified, I was certified since 2015 on MuleSoft. I've completed MuleSoft certification a couple of times. I renew my certifications like from last 5 years, and I'm Azure certified as well. And fun fact about me, I love traveling and exploring new places and languages, people, and topics. And that's the reason I went to Mexico. I worked there for almost more than 1 year. So that was because of the MuleSoft and all those things, my new clients. So this is the agenda for this topic. So I will introduce how Azure DevOps in the MuleSoft will work, and what are the problems we are solving here, and Azure code repository, and how all these branching strategies work in the Azure space, and how the Azure release pipeline look, and how you can apply security checks on build and release, how you can trigger any email with each build and release. And after covering all these topics, I will go with a demo. In that demo, I will just let you know how to set up and manage MuleSoft code, and how to manage your master branches, UAT branches, and everything, and how to do a run validation build on your branches before even merging to the higher branches, and the email notification, how it look in the real time. Okay, so I will start the session. So what problems we are solving here? So the problems we are solving here, if you can see from the slides, like, so MuleSoft API code deployment and development without code conflicts in the release cycle. So we don't want any code conflicts or anything or unnecessary code in the higher branches. So we are just going to solve those type of problems. And we have automated checking of API code quality before merging to higher branches. So it will run your code with the integration testing and with the unit testing. So we will do it automation on top of our API, and deployment tracking. What are the deployment has been completed till now? What are the change requests, change number, and maybe the defects and all. And this is a automated production backup and disaster plan for redeployment using build and release pipeline. So how you can use Azure to, like if anything has been failed, or how you can recover those jar files and all those things, and how you can trigger an automated email, how you can track change and bug fixes in Azure DevOps, and like how you can use one platform to track your documentation, story planning. A lot of people are not aware that we can use Azure as a story planning as well, same like a Atlassian product Confluence and Jira, and how you can link your defect and changes with that storyboard. So I'll start with the introduction to Azure DevOps with the Anypoint platform. So I think a lot of people are aware like how the Azure DevOps are working, but I will introduce like how what is that and how it works. So Azure DevOps is a fully integrated set of services that together provide you with all the tools and for building, maintaining backlog, hosting your APIs, code repository, implementing continuous integration along with your delivery, testing workflows for your products with release management. So in this, I proposed one of the solutions that I work with a couple of clients where we are working in a hybrid environment where they are using Azure and MuleSoft together for an integration strategies. So this is a high level, I will introduce with the high level view of Azure DevOps and MuleSoft API code branching strategies and release strategies according to each environment, and Azure security gate checks and release gate check automation. So I will show you the figure here. In this figure, if you can see, this is a kind of basic design that we are mostly following in Azure DevOps, but it should be in a way where we can recover our old artifacts as well, and we can able to follow a correct guideline and best practices from Azure. I've interacted with the Microsoft team before how we can use Azure DevOps in a different way with the MuleSoft. In my last client. So this is the architecture diagram. If you can follow, like I've created for this for MuleSoft Meetup, and you can see here we have Anypoint Studio where we are going to, like whenever we are going to commit the code, it will go into the Azure DevOps repos, or you can use a GitHub as well. And you should always have 3 branches, or according to the customer requirement, we should have different branches all together. And develop, I created here dev, test, and master, and how you can send the pull request, and how the Azure DevOps repo will go into the build pipeline. It will run the build pipeline, and then it will go to release pipeline, and it will deploy to dev. And what are the security gate checks that can be maintained by the different release manager and with the dev lead approver. So how you can do it. So you can see from this figure, like we have a different phases here where you need an approval, and before even merging to the higher branches, and even when you are going to release your code to the MuleSoft, you need a release approval as well. So these things can be automated here easily, and you don't need to worry about anything like which the unnecessary code will get deployed to your UAT or production environment. And you would always get a build artifact generated, and it will get stored into Azure, so you can recover everything here. So these are the things you can follow this figure to design your DevOps pipeline and with the MuleSoft repo. So I will go with the how the Azure code repository and last build status. So if you can see from the right hand side, so this is a mostly this how it Azure DevOps looks, and we would have a different repo exactly same like GitHub. Even you can sync it with the Git. So what I did, I sync it with the Git as well, and I've created our own repository here, and it's a MuleSoft code that you can maintain in exactly same way. And the branching strategy, you can even maintain the same branching like as I maintain dev, master, and test. And you can see here with each branches, you can see the build is succeeded or failed. It will show you the last succeeded and or a failure one. But here, what you can see, like you can see the clear picture of what is going on in this branch, and is it code has been deployed to higher branch or not. So you can get a status from these things. So I will show the screenshots of how it look when you will see the pipeline that has been used by this particular dev branch. So here I've used this pipeline for a build, and then I'm using this new release pipeline for releasing this code from dev to the MuleSoft environments. So this is how you can see, and you can even see the project status as well, how many builds has been succeeded and how many deployment has been succeeded here on this particular branch, and how many pull request has been opened till now on this branch. So these type of summary, you will get it directly. So if somebody wants to see it on the Azure DevOps portal, you can get it on the spot. You don't need to go on a different pages. And this slide is mostly for a release pipeline. And in this release pipeline, what we are doing, like we are creating a release once the build has been successful, and what is going on with the release. So whenever you are generating a release, it will generate it with a number, one particular number. You can even customize those number as well according to your CR number or artifacts or new user stories. So you can maintain those release, and you can export these things as well to your Excel, and you can put it on some release management cab approval or something, and you will easily maintain everything. You don't need to go to a different, you don't need to see like, okay, what code has been deployed and is it deployed or not. You will get any status from here itself. You will pull the Excel and everything. And with each release, you can see which artifact has been deployed. So you will get a particular artifact number here, and you can see is it succeeded or not. So if somebody is triggering, so I manually triggered this build, so that's the reason it's got, and it's generated a build, this artifact, and this artifact has been deployed to the release pipeline. So from this particular scenario, what you can see, like, is release 24 is deployed or not, and which artifact has been deployed. Once you are clicking on this artifact, you will easily get it. Okay, this artifact has been deployed, and I think there's no problem in this artifact. And if you want to revert, you can change the artifact as well. And you can even schedule a release trigger on every branch. So if you want to schedule a release trigger, and like maybe we have a Wednesday release cycle for UAT or something, you can schedule that one here. And if you don't want to, you can do it with the manually as well, but you can do it as a schedule as well. Like, and you want to deploy your code on exactly on Wednesday, maybe on the UAT, you can just schedule it, and you can just sleep, and then you can just observe your deployment. And after that, like if it's failed, you will get an email. So you don't need to worry about anything. You can schedule it here itself. And this is a security check. So this slides is mostly talking about how the security checks are applied and on each release, and how you can maintain the different gate checks when you are going to deploy your code to the higher branches or the release or the different release. So the best approaches that I've received from when we were working on the different project with Azure and MuleSoft, so it should be minimum 2 approvals should always required before even merging to the higher branches. And you should always raise a pull request between whenever you are going from lower to higher branches. Even you should not directly merge your code to the dev as well, because a lot of different vendors are working, different people are working. You should always create a feature branch. I've covered this in this figure as well. Like, you should always have a feature branch before even going to the dev branch as well, and you need to raise a pull request so that you will not get a code conflict issues and everything in your code. And when you're raising a pull request, your comment should be resolved. So somebody is mentioning that one, it should be resolved, and your build should be validated in your lower branches and with the Unit. So Azure DevOps supports the Unit as well. You can get attached coverage and everything. I will show you how it look, and after that everything is complete, it will trigger an email. And before that as well, if any pull request has been raised, then dev leads will get an email that the pull request has been raised and you need to approve that one. So these are the common checks that we need to follow when we are going to the any release or any build. So how it work, like I can show you in this one. These are some of the screenshots that I've covered. Like there is some branch policies that you can apply here, like in every branch, like how many approvals required when somebody is going to merge on this particular branch, and is the comment resolution required, and the build should be succeeded on your on your branch before even merging to the higher branch. And you can even add build policies as well here, like like, do you want to automate all those things? So these checks are like will be happening when you are going to merge from the feature branch to dev or dev to UAT or UAT to master. So this build will start running on your lower branches. It should be succeeded. So it will avoid unnecessary code conflicts, unnecessary code deployed, or a unit testing without deploying your code without doing the unit testing. So these things will be checked on your branches before even getting merged to dev or any other branches. So you can easily avoid those conflicts in the Azure DevOps without removing everything and just going with the with unnecessary code on her branches and the release cycles. And how it looks, you can see here, whenever the build is running, it will always run your unit test cases. So I've created one unit test case as well, and it will run whenever the build is running. That are you able to complete all the unit test cases successfully, or your code is breaking somewhere in your branches. So it will avoid getting merged to the higher branches, because it build would be successful if your unit test cases are successful. So you can put an unit test cases, and then only the build has been successful. The build should be successful if your unit is getting successful. So you will get a test coverage here as well, and this test coverage will send it out automatically to all the emails to the dev leads that this is going to merge to the higher branches, and all the unit test cases has been successful, and I think this code is good and it can get merged. And you can see how it looked on all the APIs. And so apart from this, so how the release gate check automation works. So release check validation allowing us to avoid unnecessary build deployment, development, ongoing build on lower branches, and quick notification on build failure. So what you can do, like whenever the release is going to happen and you are trying to deploy, it will automatically trigger an email to all the people that you are trying to deploy the unnecessary code, or you are trying to deploy the build failed code on your Anypoint Cloud Hub or on the on-prem. So it will trigger an email every time, and you can even manage your release pipeline, like who can able to see all this release pipeline, who can trigger an email, or who can trigger a release for the code by maintaining the access here on permissions at contributor, project administrator, reader, release administrator, and project collection. So what will happen here, like you can add certain people here, you can give them an access here, and you can just avoid unnecessary people to deploy the code on masters, or like on the production or in the UAT branches. You can set it out all the releases, all the permissions here itself on every release pipeline. So how it looked like when you are going with the release retentions as well. So this slide is going to cover about the release retention, release export features, and release tracking. So in this one, like why we need a release retention. So what happened, like if something has been deployed to your, like maybe the last Wednesday, you have deployed something and it's not working fine and you need to revert it back. So you should always have a disaster recovery plan. So what you can do, you can always retain your release. You can go back to the last release and you can deploy your same artifact into your, into the same environment. So you can easily get all the releases here, and you can maintain those retention policies for that particular release on this portal. So you can even put it as a days to retain 365 days, or if you want to retain the build for more than 30 days as well, you can even do it here. And if you want to permanently destroy the release after 14 days, you can even do it that way as well. And that's how you can use it for, you can use this release pipeline to recover your old codes as well, old artifacts, and for a disaster recovery plans as well. So it will be very easy to do it. And how you can do it, you can see it here, like you can just select the last successful build and you can just press the button, and then it will deploy the last successful one as well. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to worry about where is the last artifact, what is the release, and how you can see the description as well. I mentioned here the description, like this is a project one, maybe just a normal project, and there will be a artifact that is not working. You can go back to the same project as well, or the new CR. You can revert back wherever you want to do it in the exactly same way. You can able to maintain your code the same way you can maintain your release as well here in this Azure. And how it look when you trigger, when everything has been completed, build in successful, and and release is successful, it will generate the reports, all the report, and how many failed cases, how many success scenarios are, and how, like which commit has been successfully deployed and built. So you can see with this email. In this email, if you can see, like, you will get all the information, which pipeline has been used, and is it a build pipeline or release pipeline, or test results are successful or not, and you will get an update of that commits with that commit ID, that this commit ID has been used to deploy this particular code. So apart from that, so what will happen, like we have covered almost all the release retention, export features, and release tracking as well. I will just show you in the demo as well how it look and how it feel. So everything is like, right now is related to the code, but if you can go with the Jenkins or any other tools, and when we are deploying our MuleSoft API, any system and process API, you need to go to the different platform to maintain everything. You can't maintain it in a single platform. And the best thing about it here in Azure DevOps is they are providing a wiki and boards as well, which is kind of same like a Jira board, and you can even maintain the documentation, release, and everything in the same platform. So when we are creating our API documentations, and when we are creating our user stories for defect, change requests, or any old stories, and if you want to go with the sprint planning, backlogs, and epics, they call it epics in Azure. We call it as a user stories because of all the Jira boards and all. They call it as epics. And here we can easily maintain, deployment, release tracking on a single platform. You can even tag which release has been successful. So you can tag all these release in the same Azure DevOps wiki boards. So what will happen? I will show you, like when you are creating any release or anything, like you created always, like we are going with the planning and all those things. So you can use this Azure DevOps board, where you can maintain this story has been created and it should be completed by this week or in 2 weeks. You can maintain everything here, and after that, once it's going till the end to the done phase, you can tag with these release which has been completed on this Azure portal, like release 27 has been linked with this particular stories. You can even customize this one. You can write it down your own code to customize this board, so that this board will always filter out your releases here and put it here and put it there on your board as well. So once somebody is clicking, they can easily see that, oh, this has been deployed and completed. So the project manager don't need to maintain separate things and all to see where is the status and everything. And the documentation will be also linked with this particular user story. You can see the documentation is also there on the same board, where they call it as a wiki, where you can maintain your documentation for each system API, process API, and experience APIs here itself. So it's kind of pretty, it's kind of like a one platform where you're getting everything, and you can even tag all defects, emails, and everything in a single platform. You don't need to go to different platform and to ask someone like, okay, can we see is it deployed or not, or is it failed, or is there anything for disaster recovery plans or anything? You don't need to do anything. It's everything on the single page. And apart from that, you can even maintain the access things as well. Like you don't want to give access for maybe for all this release or build to the someone who is managing the projects. You just want to see, so you can maintain all the access on the basis of the this repo, pipelines, boards, and sprints and everything. So you can provide the access to certain people for certain things. Like wiki, you can provide an access as a reader, and anyone can read the documentation, but you don't want to provide an access for build. So you can maintain all those access that I've covered into the last slides here itself. So each tab at the left-hand side in Azure DevOps have an access things, so that you can maintain easily by putting it here and giving them an access for each things. And even one more thing, like you can even select the teams as well. You can create a different vendor. So there will be always chances where the customer has a different vendors that working together and working maybe the separately as well. So you can create a teams here and provide a certain access. So you can create a teams and you can name that team's name, and you can just maintain everything here itself on the teams. And apart from that, once everything has been successful, like defects and user story, you can see how many user stories has been successful overall in this month and has been deployed, and what is the failure for the projects. Is it how many things has been deployed? You will get an idea from this graph on the spot. So if somebody wants to pull those graphs and put it on the PPT to show it to the higher management, how many things has been completed, they can directly pull everything from this particular DevOps structure, and they will came to know how many things has been successful, how many stories has been completed till now. So what benefits we are getting it from this Azure? So the Azure DevOps pipeline help your team continuously integrate and release APIs to your customer at a faster pace and with automated disaster recovery plan. So as we know, like we can easily automate everything here in the Azure DevOps. You don't need to go to the different platform, and there will be always a disaster recovery plan without even doing anything. Like you don't need to do anything to prepare anything for automated disaster recovery plan. It's always there. So you just need to follow the process. And you can fully automate the build, testing, delivery, release of your APIs in multiple stages all the way to productions, or set up a semi-automated process with approval and on-demand deployment according to customer and release management process, and easy to manage API document sprint planning on a single platform for each release. So here, what you can do, like I've given the screenshot here. So in this one, you can even maintain on the basis of release manager approval required as well. Like whenever somebody is going to trigger in a build, it should be approved by the release manager, and release manager should approve this this artifact that is going to deploy into the high environment or maybe into the production environment. So you can maintain all those release things by putting the approvals and the gate checks. Whenever the artifact is going to deploy, it will automatically trigger an email to the release management team, and they will include those things into their calls. And once they will approve, it will automatically trigger a release for those deployments. So you can fully automate everything by using this Azure DevOps. So this is the benefits we are getting it, and even release management team doesn't need to do a lot of things. They can easily get everything in an automated fashion. And now I will cover the demo, and in the demo I'm going to cover how Azure repo and how you can manage the code repository, how you can manage the condition on repository on using Azure DevOps, and how you can secure your branches, and especially the lower branches and like production branches and the UAT branches, and how you can run a validation build in lower branches before even merging to the higher branches, and how the wiki looks and how many things you can create it there, and how to trigger an email. So I'll just share my screen. Just a minute.
Everything okay on your end?
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen. Just a minute. I'll just log in my Azure DevOps box.
Sure. While we wait here, we've received your 3 questions. We'll be asking them towards the end of the presentation today. If you have more questions, please enter them in the Q&A link. Thank you.
Yep, now I'm sharing my screen. Yep, just let me know when you're able to see my screen.
Yep, it's coming through.
Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Sure, if you can just make it a little bit bigger, I think then folks will be easier to see. You just magnified it.
Is it
Yep.
good now?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Just one more step up. Just the font is a little bit small. Yeah.
Is it good now?
Yeah. Oh, but it's a bit out of the screen. Yeah, I think the previous one is good. Yeah.
Previous one is good?
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, it will go beyond the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead. Yep.
Thanks. And now we'll go with this this is the portal and how it looks. So if you can see here, I've created this DevOps, and I think it's free. Anyone can use it, and if somebody wants to try it out, this portal, anyone can use this portal. It's we don't need to pay or anything for that. We can easily build our pipelines and everything here, and you can, even if somebody wants to get invitation, I can just invite there here itself. So we have these sections here. If you can see here, we have all the overview, summary, dashboard, boards, repo, pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. So I will cover some of the features that is required for our release strategies, like a repo and pipelines, and the boards. And so I will go with the repo. So I've created one of the MuleSoft code here. We have everything according to the same way that we are doing it, and we are deploying the code. And how I did it, you can even, I pulled it using our Git. And how you can maintain, you can create a new repository whenever you are going with the any other new API, you're going to use this repositories and all, and you can even manage repository here itself, like what are the repositories we have, and the settings apply on that one, and the policies. So do you need commit, another email validations, file path validations, case informant, reserve names, and all those things. And the permissions that you can easily include it, that I've showed it into the slide as well. Like if you want to include certain people, you can create a teams here, and you can include the teams itself here, and then you can add certain people, and you can let them know what are the access you have on this particular branches and repositories. So you can easily maintain all those things here. So we don't need to write much code, exactly same like a MuleSoft when we are doing it's it hardly took 10 to 15 minutes to configure everything on the particular repositories, and it's easy to configure as well. So I will show you with the repo wise how it look, and how you can maintain the branchings as well. So there's a two-way, you can even import repositories as well, and like when you are going to import, you can even put your Git, and it will support TFVC as well. And when you are putting your same, like in exactly same way, when we are going to clone our Git repository, you can put the URL here, and it will clone all your things here. And if you don't want to use Git at all, then you can even create your repository directly here, so you don't need to work on that one. Even you can sync Git and Azure as well, but I will prefer to use directly Azure when we are maintaining, because it will help you to solve a lot of problems. That is, I've seen it in other projects where we are maintaining different portals, Git, Jenkins, Confluence, and everything, and it will just create a mess up for everyone. So what you can do, like we have a one call it as a system API, and we have everything here, and how you can do it. So you can even see what are the build has been successful on this particular pipeline, and you can even select a different one as well. So I will go with the like maybe we are going to commit something on this particular branch. There is something like, I will put it one comment, mule one, and edit this one. I'll put it here, commit. We'll see what will happen. Yeah. So now you can see on the repo. So it will automatically start your start your build on this particular branch, and if you can see here, it will run all your things like even the Aminate and everything on this particular agent job. So what is this agent? Mostly whenever any build is going to run, it will run on this particular agent, and it will initialize automatically. You don't need to do anything here. So what I did, I just committed the code, and then it will automatically trigger any the build and start running everything on top of your code. So it will, if there's any, you can even set it out different tasks as well. I will show you how it will look on setting a different task and everything. Once that is successful, I will just show you, because it will take time, I think. And so this one of the build that has been successful, I will show you that one, how it look and feel like. So these are the tasks when you can execute whenever you are preparing your build pipeline, like the Maven and secure file and download artifacts, and Aminate should be successful or not. And you can even maintain your all this variables, and you can hide those variables as well, and you can trigger in. Do you want to trigger automatically? You can include those branches here itself, like it should be triggered automatically or on this particular branch. And you would enter options like mostly this one. If you want to cover something like to link with the outside, then you can use this one, and the retention same way, and you can see the history, who is triggering all those things on this particular pipeline. So we will go with this one, and I will show you. So this pipeline is working, and these I've created just for reference for different pipelines and all. And this is how the pipelines work, and you just need to set it out the pipeline. You can even edit pipeline as well, that I showed you, that you can create a different pipeline as well by using this, and you can select the agent on the basis of on which you want to run Mac OS, Ubuntu, and Windows, and all those things, and you can include your POM. And these are all just a configuration. You don't need to code or something. It's just a task that you need to cover it up. What are the tasks you need to use and all. And once this is completed, once the build has been completed, you will always see this is a tick mark that has been successful. And once that is successful, you can even link with the build. So I will show you how going with the release pipeline. So this is actually a pipeline that I'm going to use. So maybe think about this is a build pipeline. You can just, you don't need to do anything here. You just need to add different stages. So it will automatically create the one more stage, and you can even like if you want to deploy anything, you can just create these different stages, and you can deploy to the different environment the same build. So this is a package that is going to generate on this particular build pipeline, that think about like as a dev pipeline, or maybe test pipelines, or maybe a production pipeline. You can just create one more task, and you can deploy the same build in different release. So if you can see here, once you're clicking it out, it's exactly same like a configuration here. You can just download some secure file where you are going to store your AnyPoint platform passwords and all, and even on-prem password, and then you can run a bash script that is for our CLI command. I think MuleSoft already given this in their documents and all, that you can use AnyPoint CLI command. It's nothing like very fancy. You can just use those pipelines, and you can create a different worker size, runtime, which runtime you want to deploy, you workers and work application name, and the jar file path. And what is the jar file path? That artifact that is going to generate it, and that every build pipeline. So the artifacts here that is going to generate, you can see it here itself, like, okay, this artifact has been generated, and that is going to deploy on this particular pipeline. So in the release one, if you can go here, I've deployed this one of the release. I will open this one. So you can see here, this has been not been deployed yet, and I'm going to deploy this one. And how it look, either you can automate this scenario, or you can ask according to the environment. Think maybe it's a production environment and all. You can just need to create an artifact, and that once artifact is here, you can see which artifact has been successful. It's 100% pass. You can see the code coverage here itself, and you can see how it looks. So it will directly put it back to your Microsoft page as well, like if you didn't understand. And you can easily see is it deployed or not, and which release is it. You can put a description, like maybe think this is for defect, this one, and you can easily put all the release release descriptions here itself. So that's how it look, and I will show you how it deploy will work. You can see it's a defect. You can deploy this one, and it will put it in the queue, and you can see the logs here itself. It will start the deployment process for you. That's how this release worked here. And now you can see there was a different things was going on. Then it will take a load according to your according to your process. So it will start the progress now, and it will going to deploy this artifacts here. Yeah. So if you can see, there was some of the deployment has been successful on my sandbox environment, and that if you are going to open this one, you can see the logs and all here. What are the things has been executed and everything. And if you don't want to see anything, you just need to create it. Like you can see the artifact as well that has been used to deploy this one here itself. So all of the things are maintained on the basis of release. So you don't need to worry about like, okay, there's a different release, like is it a deployed or not. You can see it with here, and you can see which has been deployed. Is it CR has been deployed or not? This is not deployed. Once you see the green sign, it's deployed. If it's failed, then it will show the failed sign as well. So these are the mostly releases you are getting, and even you can filter out the release here itself, and it's successful. So you can see it's succeeded just now, and it will show this defect has been succeeded, and you can export this one whenever anything is there. You can export this one in JSON file or in an Excel file as well, that these many releases have been successful, and you can create a new release as well. So I'll show you how to create a new release. So I'm going to use a dev release pipeline right now. That is for dev environment, and then you can create a new release. It will create a new release. That's it, and it will use the pipeline that we have created just now for a dev. So that's how the release things will work. And you can even, apart from that, you can get the analytics, and you can see here how many pipelines has been successful, what are the pipelines has been used, and what are the releases, the builds, and which branches they have used, and who deployed this one and queued here. All this information you can get it here, and you can export those information as well directly. So this is kind of a good platform where you can see build is working at the same platform, release is also working at the same platform, and you can even maintain all those releases on the basis of on this particular thing. You can even add a different artifacts as well if you want to use maybe see, I've created here 3 pipelines. First for is dev, second one is for production and test. You can just create a different artifact. I can see, like, I can create a different artifact here, add it here, okay, then add here, new stage. You can add a different one. Okay, so if you want to add this one, then you can just one, yeah, and you can even you can even trigger any release as well on the basis of So there's one more thing I can show you guys. You can even put a trigger as well that I've showed it. Like you can automate those trigger. You need a pre-deployment approvals. You can put a pre-deployment approvals here. You can put an approval name, like with the release management team. You can put the it will directly search your organization. You don't need to worry about anything here. So here you can see it will search throughout the Natuvian organization, and it will even I can search, I think, Christian as well.
Sorry to interrupt. We're approaching the top of the hour, so it would be good if you could get to Q&A in the next minute or so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So these things will always be there, and apart from that, you can use boards as well, like to maintain your user stories and everything here itself. To maintain your user story, you can tag which release has been completed. These are the things you can maintain here, and you can see here that I've showed it into the slides as well. You can see this user story has been completed, and you can tag it with your with your pipelines releases that has been successful. You can tag it on your boards as well here directly. So you can see these user stories has not been assigned exactly same like what we are doing it, but with the DevOps way, like you can control everything in a single platform. So that's how things in Azure DevOps. Yep. That's it. I think I will just see the slides and all. I think I'm running out of time now. There's a lot of things actually.
Thank you so much, Suchil. Your topic is very interesting. Thanks for presenting such a rich content and such a wonderful tools for all our audience today. Really appreciate that. Yeah, so while waiting for you to fetch up any of the wrap-up slide, I think we have a couple of the questions from folks. We may go over time a little bit. If you feel like you're dropping off like from 1 p.m. it's okay, but I think we'll help to address any of the questions posted by folks online. So first questions is to do, I just pick some of the most straightforward questions. If you can answer it quickly, is the Azure DevOps release pipeline using Mule Maven plugin or the platform API to deploy? It's more like a yes or no. Yes. The question is yes. And the next question is something to do with API versionings. Can you share your views on the API versionings or DevOps release managements for several versions of the same API? I think folks is asking how exactly that you manage these API versionings using Azure DevOps.
Yeah. So what you can do, you can even maintain it easily by build artifacts that I've showed you here. So if you can see here, you can easily maintain your all versioning here itself on the basis of artifacts. If you want to maintain a different maybe call it as a different repository, that also you can do it in the repository section. So that's how you can maintain your versioning.
Okay, there's another question similar and also associated with APIs versioning as well. Is it possible to have multiple projects or API in a single repository in case we want to still set up the pipeline?
Yeah, so do you want can you just repeat the question? Is it like a multiple pipeline set it out on a same repository?
Yes. Is that possible to have multiple projects or APIs in the same repositories? In that case, can we still set up the pipeline?
Yes, still we can set up a pipeline, but that need a custom some custom coding as well, and because that will be a different use case scenario, because I've not seen this type of scenario. Mostly why we need a different pipeline for one repository is because one repository should have a one pipeline. Once you need a different pipelines, it means you are just removing the DevOps structure itself. So that would going in a different way. But yeah, if you need it, we can even do it that one as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Next questions, has anyone able to include static code analyzer tools as part of DevOps, especially for generating a report or check for vulnerabilities?
Yeah, I got it. So yeah, so as I showed you the tasks there, when I was showing you the build pipeline task in my when I was showing the demo, you can include anything. You can even include Splunk, and you can even include any outside tools as well. In that particular, you can write it down your own code, small code, maybe Groovy script or Bash script that will connect with that particular tool, and it will start giving you. And even you can build a small health check API that will execute when we are deploying our code to the higher branch or releasing the code. You can just put it in that task. So there is a lot of option in the task. You can execute those tasks.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to try automating MuleSoft API manager tasks through DevOps, like creating a new API, manage policies, all with DevOps built or deployed pipeline?
So can you just repeat the question?
Have you ever tried automating a Mule API manager tasks through DevOps, like creating new APIs, managing policy, all with DevOps built deployed pipeline?
Yeah. So you can even do this one as well with the DevOps build pipeline. So in the DevOps build pipeline, you as I showed you, the tasks are there where you can apply the policies as well. But the only thing is you can't automate the things like a policies that you need to apply, like OAuth policy. That needs to be done by Anypoint. You need to go to that or Anypoint platform. I need to manage separately. But yeah, if you're preparing something maybe on the Azure, then you can do it that one as well, like applying the policies using Azure DevOps, but not on our MuleSoft side that you can maintain those things here as well. But yeah, deployment wise, you can do it with this. Yeah.
Thanks, Sachir. To last question. If you want to show your screen, you can, because you are still holding the screen sharing, right? Can you show the setting you kept in Mavens and download secure file?
Okay, just a minute.
Yep. And the other one is, can you show the files, open and show the files you config in the download secure files? He would like to see there's more like a Mavens commands that you used.
Okay. So do I need to show it here, because that has carried some password and all those things?
I see. Okay. So you may have some difficulty sharing that.
Yeah, but I can show you the secure, because if I can show you the secure file, I have some passwords and everything stored there, and some of the things that is for Natuvian, so I can't show it. But yeah, I can give you an idea how you can do it. You can download that. You can put it as secure files there, and what you can do once you have a secure file, you can download that secure file, and you can point it out to your bash script. So what will happen whenever anything is going to run, it will automatically take all those secure files and put it in the bash script. So when the bash script is running, you can just it will carry all those password and everything in that particular bash script and will execute, and then it will deploy to your according to your configuration, either to Cloud Hub or on-prem. Yep.
Okay, I think we have to wrap up, and this is going to be the last question. Someone's on the lines asked, can they have access to your Natuvian's DevOps project?
Yeah, I will try. I will see, like, if I can. I will see with the Christian first, like, are they allowing me to share this one? And if it's allowing, then I can put it as a public.
Yeah. All right. We have many others questions that's posted on the chat lines. So we are already timed up. So hopefully that folks, if you like to follow Suchair's, his LinkedIn profile is actually shared on our event page. You can ping him on his private message. If you want to help to address that, it's already ran out of time to help answering any other further questions. You have any other things to add, Royston, before we end the call?
No, I wanted to add a huge thank you to Suchair for taking the time to prepare the presentation and share it with us today. It's good to see the expertise that you bring to the table with bringing these two technologies together, that our audience is able to take that away, and hopefully if they are using Azure DevOps in their own organizations, they'll be able to learn a few more tips and tricks with how to use it better. Yep. And also for those who don't know about Azure DevOps, it's a good way to get introduced into the ecosystem. It looks like a very comprehensive platform. So thank you for sharing that, Suchair.
Yep, thanks. So I will just complete this one. And these are the takeaways. I think we already know we can create a release pipeline and MuleSoft API deployment delivery, disaster recovery plan, and we can even generate MNU test coverage, retentions. You can put security checks, and you can maintain everything on the same platform, like DevOps, Epic, boards, user stores, everything you can maintain on the single platform. And to try out this solution, even you can contact us as well. I've given my IDs, and Christian's ID as well, our LinkedIn profile, and you can reach out to us as well for anything you want to set up for your organization or something, and we can help you on that. How to do your DevOps setup with Agile board and everything from the beginning, and the platform setup. Yep, that's it from my side.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to stop the recordings, and you may leave the sessions.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Eva, and hope to